Welcome to 2023, and I'm fat. So it's the 1st of January, 2023, and I just jumped on the scales to weigh myself, and I was a whopping 5 kilograms heavier than the last time I weighed myself a few months before the end of 2022. I wish I could say it was just a Christmas pudding, but the truth is I found myself in a real slump for a few months at the end of 2022 for a couple of reasons. The main reason was I just felt like my year wasn't turning out as I'd hoped in terms of my career change from being a lawyer. I finished up as a lawyer at the end of 2020, and I was closing in on 2 years towards my new direction and just felt like things weren't turning out like I'd hoped. When I sold my law firm at the end of 2020, I had a general direction to head in. I knew I wanted to relieve more of my own suffering, and I wanted to help other people do the same thing. And I wanted to do this in the health and wellness field. Part of the issue was not even knowing my new title. What is it that I am now? Before I was a lawyer, I had a label, I had a title. Now I didn't even know what to call myself. Movement teacher felt too limiting, didn't seem to capture everything. Wellness warrior, all of the other things just seemed lame and corny. And I struggled to even be clear on my new identity. Added to all of this was a lot of self-judgment, self-criticism on my financial results from my efforts from the previous 2 years. I'd been relying on the sale proceeds of my law firm to fund this gap, and I'd really hoped that I had made a lot more money by now. So basically, I was being very hard on myself, and I just decided to let go of the practices for a while and just take a break, and that spilled over into a few months. I was still dabbling with things here and there, but just really let go of the routine. I think I've learned now, unfortunately, I am 41 years old, and I used to be able to rely on that young man, fast metabolism to cover me during these periods, during these downtimes, but that appears to be well and truly over because I was shocked at how much weight I gained. 5 kilograms is quite a lot for me in a few months. So before Christmas, I decided to take a break off social media because that was also starting to just get me down. Every time I'd open it up, it just appears like everybody else is just crushing it and you're not achieving your goals. So it was like salt in the wound. So I decided to delete Instagram and Facebook off my phone and just take a break. After the Christmas festivities were done and I got my children back to their mum, we have shared custody. So I sat down on my own with my pen and my paper and I started to write. And I realized a few things about how I'd been perceiving my 2022 that weren't entirely correct. I realized I'd been focusing so much on the things I didn't achieve, like my perception of my income levels, the amount of meaningful work I had done, the number of people I had helped. And I'll get to those in a moment, but before I do, I realized even those perceptions weren't exactly accurate. So the financial piece, and in particular my income, was one thing getting me down, but I recently read a report that the local property prices here on the Sunshine Coast have increased by 30% in the last 3 years, and I own my own home here, so I got a valuation, and it turns out that I've actually made more money in equity on my property than I would have as a salaried lawyer per year anyway in the last 2 years I've had off, in inverted commas. So this piece just reassured me that, while I was retraining, upskilling in new areas, I was also making money in the equity of this home. Now, I need somewhere to live, of course, but if I were to sell it right now, I'd make lots more money than what I paid for it. So this just helped reset my original perception that, I hadn't made any money. I actually had and didn't realize or give myself enough credit for buying the house in the first place while I was a lawyer, being unhappy, and now having this asset that is capitalizing while I'm upskilling and learning a new field of expertise. A friend in the e-commerce digital world also reminded me that when you're starting out in a new field, especially digital e-commerce, that it takes a little bit of time, and that I've actually had pretty good results considering I came into trying to sell online digital fitness products with no prior experience, no real computer background. So she actually reminded me after seeing my results that this is actually a pretty good start. Then fed into false perception number 2, which was that I'd not done enough meaningful work. And when I actually wrote down and reflected on all the work I had done, it was considerable. I'd upskilled in new fitness qualifications. That took some time and effort. I wrote countless blog articles. I created dozens and dozens of videos on YouTube and social media, all with tutorial and instructional quality. I'd expanded on my existing online course, and I'd produced a lot more than I originally thought. Also got a lot of valuable experience as a teacher. I taught consistently every week a class in town. I also taught privately and at workshops, created my own workshops, and I also was invited to guest teach at several larger retreats and festivals. This then led into false perception number 3, that I hadn't helped many people. And when I reflected, I'd sold over 100 of my online courses. I had also taught hundreds of students over the year, especially at those bigger events, the big retreats and workshops. So I'd actually touched a lot of people. And then I thought about their families and their friends that they were showing or sharing with some of the things they learned from me. And that ripple effect probably resulted in thousands, if not tens of thousands of people probably touched by something that I had created, especially when you look at the power of YouTube and all the video content and how many people watch that and then tell their friends. So even that perception of not helping many people didn't turn out to be very true either. The other cool thing I was overlooking about all of this is that I did all of these efforts while being a stay-at-home dad. So I have my 2 beautiful children, and as a lawyer, I didn't always get to take them to or from school. So I got to do this each and every week, and I spent every school holidays with them. We spent more time than ever before. So I've got to give myself big credit for being an active dad on top of all these business efforts. When I finished up journaling all of this, I wrote at the bottom, just lighten up, dude. Like, you're actually doing effing great. Doesn't mean I still don't have big ambitions. I do. 2023 is going to be a monster year. I've set some audacious goals for my business, for my work, for my practices, for my family, for my relationships. And I want to get out there this year and really explore a bit more, have a bit more adventure, and have a lot of fun building my business, growing my digital e-commerce products. And I want to write a lot more. To solve the dilemma of not having a title, I'm going to give myself one just to appease the left side of my brain. And I'm going to say I'm a writer, because I think if you write from there, you can create videos, you can create fitness programs, you can journal out your feelings and emotions, just like I did in that void between Christmas and New Year when I sat down with pen and paper and actually realized I'd done a lot better than I was giving myself credit for. So I'm a writer. So back to these 5 kilograms that I have to do something about. I am going to lose fat and get stronger. And to do that, here's my plan. To do this, I'll do the movement work that I love. I love body weight strength and mobility, gymnastics. I love handstands, working out on the rings for the upper body. I love locomotion, and I want to continue learning some Bboy, in particular the windmills has been a project that I want to continue working on, as well as walking my dog every day. It's a great way just to get that steady state cardio in, which will help bring some of this extra fat off. It helps to have specific skills. And for me, I had just started on my 1-arm handstand towards the end of last year. So I'm going to continue on with that. I want to really improve my pancake mobility this year. So that's another project. The Bboy windmills is in there. Some locomotion flow stuff that I'm still working through. Some new skills there. My thoracic back bridge, I want to get that a lot better. So there's plenty of skills that I've identified that I want to work on in these sessions. So my training split, I'll be doing something every single day. So I'll leave a copy of my training split in the description down below, along with some videos of some previous skill tutorials that I've done in each of these areas in case you want to check those out. As for the diet piece, I have experimented with just about all of the diets at this point in my life. And last year I had some great success and really enjoyed the ancestral diet. So meat, fruit, honey, salt, and just cutting out processed sugars, processed foods, gluten, and also, you know, breads, pastas, wheat, grain, that sort of stuff. So if I do that, I find I typically lean down and it just helps reduce inflammation and bloating. Taking a break from social media also just helped me realize how much time I can waste scrolling, and it also prevents clear thinking, because when I actually did sit down with my journal and I had no social media apps there to distract me, my distilling of thought and processing was so much clearer and so much better. So I definitely want to manage my social media use a lot better in 2023. And I think I'm going to do this by focusing on what I do want, which is to write more and write my ideas down and develop them more thoroughly and then turn those into my creations. So I will document the next couple of months for you so you can see my progress. And the intentions behind this are twofold. One, by making this public, it helps me stay accountable to my goals. And two, I hope that it might help inspire you as well. And if that doesn't, that's okay, because I still got goal one. Now, if you're looking for even more help on how to get fit or strong or move better in 2023, then I have online movement coaching. I also have an online Locomotion course called Locomotion Flow 2.0. I'll leave links to all of this in the description down below. And I'm also putting the finishing touches on my new ring flow course, which will teach you how to use the Olympic rings for upper body strength. So I'll leave details of all of those down below, and you can also stay in touch with my blog, newsletter, all the links down below. If you got something out of this video, smash the like button for me, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.